You've probably seen millions of them in your life, right? But have you ever really truly looked at one? I'm talking about the humble leaf. It might seem pretty simple, but we're about to take a tour of what is, and this is no exaggeration, one of the most important and perfectly designed factories on the entire planet.
I mean, we see them everywhere, especially in the fall when they put on this absolutely spectacular color show. But what if I told you that every single one of those leaves is a microscopic solar-powered factory? A factory that works tirelessly to produce the energy that fuels not just the plant it's on, but pretty much all life on Earth.
So what's the big problem this factory was built to solve? Well, it all comes down to food. See, unlike us, plants can't just wander over to the fridge when they get hungry. They have to make their own food, and they have to do it using the most abundant energy source around, pure sunlight.
Right, so that's the fancy scientific way of saying they're self-feeders. They're called autotrophs. And the leaf is their brilliant, purpose-built solution to this huge energy challenge. It's a living solar panel and a food production line, all rolled into one amazing package, designed for one primary job: photosynthesis. So, how does it all actually work? Come on, let's go on a little factory tour. We're going to pop the hood, peel back the layers, and see the incredible machinery that's humming away inside every single leaf.
Okay, so here it is. This is our factory blueprint, a cross-section of a leaf. Now I know, it looks a little complex, but don't worry, we can break it down. Just think of it as different floors in a factory, where each floor has a very specific and crucial job to do. We'll start from the outside in.
First up, we've got the cuticle. Think of this as the factory's roof. It's got this waxy, waterproof coating to stop the whole operation from drying out. But, and this is key, it's also completely transparent. It has to be, because it needs to let the sunlight, the factory's only power source, shine right through to the machinery below.
And right underneath that waxy roof is the epidermis. If the cuticle is the waterproof sealant, then the epidermis is the structural wall. It's this tough, single layer of cells that gives the leaf its shape and protects all the delicate stuff inside from damage, while, again, being totally transparent so that precious sunlight can get through.
All right, now we're getting to the real heart of the operation, the palisade mesophyll. This is the main factory floor. And just look at how these cells are packed together, standing upright like pillars. Each one is absolutely crammed with tiny green solar panels called chloroplasts, all arranged to catch the maximum possible amount of light. This is where the real work gets done.
Now, just beneath that busy factory floor, things really open up. This is the spongy mesophyll layer, and you can think of it as the factory's ventilation system. All those big air spaces are critical for letting gases move around. They allow carbon dioxide to get in easily, and they let the oxygen waste product get out. And finally, running right through the middle of it all, we have the veins, or the vascular bundles. This is the factory's incredibly advanced plumbing and shipping department. You've got the xylem, which are pipes that bring water up from the roots, and you've got the phloem, the pipes that ship the finished product, sugar, out to the rest of the plant.
Okay, so we've seen the factory's layout, which is amazing. But any good factory needs a way to control what comes in and what goes out, right? Well, the leaf has this incredibly clever system for managing its shipping and receiving.
I mean, the whole factory is sealed up tight by that waxy cuticle in the epidermis. So how on earth do raw materials like carbon dioxide get in from the air, and how does the byproduct oxygen get out? The answer lies in thousands upon thousands of microscopic automated gates.
The answer is these thousands of tiny gates called stomata. And here's the brilliant part. As you can see here, each little gate is controlled by two special cells called guard cells. When sunlight hits the leaf, water gets forced into these cells. This causes them to inflate like tiny balloons and bow outwards, which pulls the gate wide open. And just like that, the factory is open for business, letting all that essential carbon dioxide flood in.
And, just as cleverly, the whole process reverses itself at night. When there's no sunlight, photosynthesis stops. Water flows back out of the guard cells, causing them to deflate, go limp, and swing shut. It's this simple, elegant mechanism that makes sure the factory closes down tight to prevent precious water from escaping when it's not in production. It's just genius.
All right, so we've seen the factory's structure, we've seen its automated gates. Now let's get down to the actual production line itself, the absolutely amazing chemical process of photosynthesis.
You know, the real magic happens inside those little chloroplasts we saw earlier. These are the tiny solar generators. They contain a special pigment called chlorophyll, which, by the way, is what makes leaves green. And this pigment is incredibly good at absorbing energy from sunlight.
You can actually break the whole production line down into two main stages. First, in what are called the light-dependent reactions, the chloroplasts use that solar energy to do something incredible. They literally rip water molecules apart. Then, in the second stage, the light-independent reactions, they take all that captured energy and use it to build a simple sugar, glucose, out of carbon dioxide. So essentially, sunlight becomes food. Light energy gets converted into chemical energy that the plant can store and use whenever it needs to.
So our factory tour is almost over. But before we wrap things up, let's take a quick look at the factory's byproducts and, well, what happens when its busy production season finally comes to an end.
Say, this factory doesn't just make sugar. It has two byproducts that are absolutely vital for the entire planet. The first, of course, is oxygen, the very air that we are all breathing right now. The second is water vapor. Through a process called transpiration, the leaf releases water. This not only helps to cool the plant down on a hot day, but it also acts like a giant straw, creating the pressure that pulls more water all the way up from the roots.
And this brings us right back to where we started. If this factory is so perfect, so efficient, why does it shut down for the winter? Why do the leaves change from that vibrant green to spectacular yellows, oranges, and reds before they fall off the tree?
Well, it's not a breakdown. It's actually a planned shutdown. See, all spring and summer, the leaves are just flooded with that green chlorophyll. But that green is basically a mask. Hiding underneath are other pigments, these vibrant yellows and oranges. So when autumn arrives and the days get shorter, the plant stops making chlorophyll. The green fades away, finally unmasking those brilliant fall colors that were there all along. The factory is simply closing down for the winter in the most beautiful way imaginable.
So the next time you see a leaf, I really hope you see it differently. See it for what it is, a perfect, tiny, solar-powered factory. One that produces the food for our ecosystems and the oxygen for our atmosphere. It's a powerful thought, right? And it leads to an even more critical question. If our planet is powered by trillions of these tiny factories, what does it mean when we start shutting them down for good?